Well, welcome to today's webinar, Making Sense of Online Marketing, a simple recipe for social media marketing success. This is the second of our 3 webinar series here at Treasure Valley SCORE. The first one we talked about was websites and digital marketing in general. So if you missed that one, be sure to check out the replay. If you have not gotten the replay, I will make sure that I send it out in today's follow-up email that will have a link to the presentation and also a link to the slides. So you can print out the slide deck or look at it online. So if you are just in a listen-only mode or you'd like to take notes, feel free to do so. Just waiting for some more folks to come in, and we will get started. I'd like to take a few minutes to thank our sponsor for today's presentation, Columbia Bank. And as you probably know, there are lots of us out there who have either taken advantage of some of these small business administration loan programs. TE Digital is definitely one of those. So if you have any needs in your banking, please contact your local bank. See what they have available for you. And here in Idaho, Columbia Bank is one of the premier banks that is assisting a lot of the small businesses out here. So I'd like to thank them. So as social media, when you think about social media, it definitely can help you grow your business, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming and take up a lot of your time. And hopefully today I'm going to show you some ways or some things to really focus on when it comes to social media marketing. Consumers want to find you, and here we are, just got through with Cyber Monday and Black Friday, and you probably have heard that sales online have skyrocketed this year. We have definitely transitioned to more of a digital platform when it comes to selling our products and services online. 21% of consumers are more likely to buy from brands they can reach on social media. And it is a tool that exerts a lot of influence. And 37% of consumers' purchases are inspired through social media. So if you're like me, I like to see what my friends are engaged with when it comes to brands and products, recommendations, those kinds of things. Very important. Social media is very influential, as you know. And as more new platforms like TikTok come online, designed to help small businesses, they all build in. Eventually, all these platforms build in a business segment that can help you reach your target audience. And of course, encourage support for causes like nonprofits that are out there. 84% share information on social media to show support for a cause. So again, very influential and very important. So here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about choosing the right social media networks for your business. I'm going to talk about a framework for what we call the 15-minute social media marketing plan, and then how to get started with paid advertising. And yes, paid advertising is definitely one of the tools that I recommend you become very familiar with in 2022, because again, as social media evolves, the business aspect of social media is taking over. and knowing how to effectively use advertising to help boost and expand your reach is going to be important. And you don't need a whole lot of money to do that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is John Walker. I'm co-founder and Chief Solutions Officer for TE Digital. We're a digital marketing agency. And one of the reasons why I'm actually presenting this topic to you today is that I am a certified Constant Contact partner since 2010. And SCORE, the national organization, is a national partner with Constant Contact. So that's why I'm able to bring you this content today. And just a little bit about our company. Like I said, we are a digital marketing agency and we cover all aspects of online marketing. But enough about me. Let's talk about SCORE. SCORE, as you may or may not know, and if you could raise your hand on your social media or on your GoToMeeting platform, let's raise your hand and let me know if you have engaged with SCORE or know about SCORE. And if you don't, put a no in the questions box. Very interested in at least giving you the information about SCORE that will help you in the coming year. So SCORE has over 300 offices nationwide, specifically designed to help existing and startups, businesses get off to a great start. And here at Treasure Valley SCORE, we are really focused on one-to-one mentoring, putting on workshops and webinars like we have here today, and to guide clients to address their specific business issues. And of course, create a long-term relationship with you so that you'll always have a professional, experienced, a former business owner who has really dedicated a lot of their time to helping you. So I hope that no matter where you are, and just because we're in Idaho doesn't mean that you can't reach out to us from other parts of the country. Now with the advent of online mentoring, getting on a Zoom call and talking to you about your business issues is as simple as going to our website, treasurevalley.score.org, and signing up for a mentoring session. And here's just some of the background that our mentors have. And like I said, we've got over 30 mentors on call that can talk to you about any of these topics. And again, sign up for a mentoring session, treasurevalley.score.org. And you can also go to the SBA website, sba.gov, for small business resources and lots of information. And towards the end, I'll talk a little bit about some of the loan programs that you may or may not be aware of. But let's jump off onto our first topic, and let's talk about choosing the right social media platform. But before we do that, I'd just like to get take a little pulse of our audience out there. And I have a poll question for you. So let's start off by asking you, are you currently using social media to promote your business? So let me tap into your brain there and find out how we are doing. I just like to get a glimpse or a snapshot of what we're doing out there, and this will help me direct our conversation today. Awesome. Appreciate everybody's attention and participation. Let me share with you the results. So a whopping 84% of you are using social media to promote your business. and that is awesome. But I have another question for you, and you don't have to answer this online, but uh, do you feel like it is effective? Is it an effective tool for you at this point? Or do you feel like you need some additional help? And that is really what we're going to be talking about today. So thank you for participating in that poll. And let's talk about kind of the three areas that I see social media being used to help small businesses, small, medium, large businesses grow. And the first area that we like to talk about is awareness, customer service being second, and then, of course, an action-oriented theme to your social media marketing. So those are what we're going to be talking about. And when it comes to awareness, there are two things that we specifically use social media for. Number one is to be found. You want people to be able to go onto Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, do a search, find your business online. And then, of course, the next thing that we like to do is to build interest. So as people are joining your social media networks, following you on LinkedIn, following you on Twitter or Facebook, we want to present them with content and information that's going to pique their interest about our product or service. And then, of course, another angle that I see a lot of businesses using social media for out there is to communicate with those who are like you as far as the customer service aspect, and to win over those who don't. Now, this is one of the tricky areas when it comes to online marketing is, how do we respond to both positive and negative comments maybe on social media that we may be facing. And of course, you never want to ignore negative comments. You always want to address them head on as best you can. And not only just for the person who is probably submitting that not so positive comment, but also to others who may be looking at how you respond. And so winning over those who may not be interested or may not, think of you as their go-to, this is one way to help them overcome that objection. So using social media, and I see people using Facebook and Twitter mainly as the two kind of customer service social media platforms, or using those social media platforms for customer service. And of course, one of the main goals of social media is to have your followers and your social media visitors to take action. And we do that by winning their trust. We create a craving for your product or service. And we look at it as a way of stealing business from your competitors. And this is all driven by the actions we're asking our audience to take. So definitely look at using social media, not only just to share information about the daily dealings going on in your business, but to drive action. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So social media platforms are proven to drive success. So let's talk about them individually. So, of course, the main social media platform used by most everybody in the United States is Facebook. And I'm not sure if you have heard, but there have been a lot of changes at Facebook lately. And in fact, they've actually changed their name to Meta, which is going to introduce all of us at some point to the metaverse, which is Mark Zuckerberg's vision of the future of internet. And yes, businesses will play a huge role in that. So stay tuned. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of exciting things coming out of that. But in its present form, Facebook is really a user-friendly platform. Most of us have been on there for years. Your audience, 9 times out of 10, is on Facebook. So we use Facebook to post videos, photos, links, event information. Now there's an e-commerce aspect on Facebook where you can actually sell your products and process payments through Facebook. So Facebook has really evolved from that social, one-to-one network to a real business platform. And of course, Facebook advertising is a part of that as well. And part of the reason why I'm doing this in this particular order is in order of importance, where I think maybe your business would get the most bang for its buck. So if you were to focus on one particular platform for your social media activity, I highly recommend that you start with Facebook. And then for those of you who have a lot more time or resources, Twitter is also a viable a social media platform to promote your business. I look at Twitter as being kind of that broadcast network where I can send real-time information about things going on in my business. So the why for Twitter is that you can really focus on conversations and information sharing. Whether it's sharing a link, a video, an image, an announcement about something going on specifically in your business at that particular time. So Twitter, to me, is that real-time broadcast platform. And that's why most news organizations and large brands use Twitter. Again, awareness. Increasing your awareness out there, getting your name out there, your business out there, so people know who you are. So that is Twitter. Now, the one drawback to Twitter is that it does require a lot more time and effort to make that lasting impact. So, for example, we recommend on Facebook, if you could do three to five Facebook posts a week, that would be pretty good as far as, keeping content and your audience engaged. On Twitter, we're talking about 3 to 5 times or more a day to engage successfully on Twitter. So unless you have a lot of time or you have a dedicated resource to do that, Twitter would be one of those platforms that if it's not quite right for my audience, that I might not jump into that one right off the bat. And of course, the next one that I like is Instagram. And Instagram is a mobile first platform. So as all of us walk around with our cell phones, and most of us probably have our Instagram app on there. So you can use it to share photos and videos, very visual. And also the fact that Instagram is owned by Facebook, you have that cross-platform capability of being able to post things on Facebook and at the same time post them on Instagram, as well as cross-platform promotion with Facebook ads. So you can create a Facebook ad and a Twitter ad, an Instagram ad, and it will appear on both platforms. And of course, for those of you who are in a more professionally, what I call either as a consultant or you'd like to engage with other business professionals in a more formal format, then LinkedIn is going to be the platform for you. And of course, I like LinkedIn because this is where you can get right to the source of your target audience. So if you are an insurance agent or you are a, um, a salesperson, you could use LinkedIn to mine leads and to generate leads for your business. And things that you'd like to post on LinkedIn would be what I call professionally or industry oriented content. Sharing content on LinkedIn is key, and of course, LinkedIn also has an events platform as well. So if you're doing a webinar or you have a live event, posting it on LinkedIn can help get the word out and increase your registrations. So those are kind of the three main platforms that I see most of our small businesses out there using. And like I said before, don't be overwhelmed by this. I know it's a lot, and we were talking about this in a very kind of systematic way, but you don't have to be everywhere at the same time. So focus on those one or two platforms that you know your audience is using. And one way to do that would be to survey your audience. Maybe send out an email to your customer list and ask them what social media platforms are they using. And then you can determine where your social media marketing efforts need to be driven. So just remember that. It doesn't have to be overwhelming, and it does not have to always be time consuming. So one of the things, again, that we use social media for is to get people to follow us. And a lot of people are searching on particular topics using hashtags and related conversations like on Twitter. And of course, if you follow someone, then the reciprocal or reciprocating following someone is that they follow you back. So look at building your audience, as far as followers on social media, and ask them to join your email list. Now, I'm going to be talking about email next month, but the combination of email marketing and social media can be very powerful. And, it's not just good enough to have followers on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, but we also want to drive those folks to join our email list where we can communicate with them directly. And then, of course, anytime that you are, let's say you're at an event or a networking event, that you ask someone to join your networks or your social media presences. So asking for permission to join, and then of course follow them, they'll follow you. And this is all part of building up that audience. One of the things that I always like about social media marketing, as far as, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, is that you can see the results of your effort, either in growing your email list or growing your audience. How many followers do you have? The more, and it seems like we're going back to kind of the old school way of doing social media now, is that it's really about building up that audience, creating a community, with Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups where we can bring our audience in and direct the conversations around the topics that set us up as subject matter experts and beyond. So let's talk about our second item, the 15-minute social media marketing plan. And before we do that, let me ask you another question. Do you have a social media marketing plan? And just like you would think you would need a business plan or a marketing plan for your small business, breaking it down even further, your social media marketing plan is a subset of your marketing plan, but it does require its own kind of space when you're thinking about that. So let's see. Thank you all for participating. Let's see what the results are. You may be, or you may not be, surprised by this. So, interestingly enough, 84% of you said you are using social media, but 75% of you are saying you don't really have a social media marketing plan. Now, that's very interesting, and this may be one of the reasons why there might be some disconnect or feelings of anxiety about using social media. So let's continue our conversation on about what we call that simple plan. So if you think about the three kind of pillars that we discussed a little earlier, awareness, customer service, and action, these are the three goals that I would say that you could use to get started with your social media marketing plan. And then focus your efforts on that. So if you break it down to where you could take on each thing and just put maybe 5 minutes a day to, paying attention to these three pillars, then you will at least have a basis to build on. And we'll talk about this. So generating awareness. And when we talk about generating awareness, through our posts on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok, others, it's all about the content. So what kind of content are you putting out there that would draw in someone who's just scrolling through their social media app? Is it pictures? Like, for example, if you're a restaurant, are you sharing pictures of your menu? Items that are most popular? Are you encouraging people to post pictures and to comment on things like that? Are you promoting your products and services? And we like to use that 80-20 rule when it comes to social media marketing. 80% of the things that you talk about on social media should be oriented to helping solve your followers' problems. So if you have a solution to a problem that your audience is having, you will get much more out of social media marketing than you put into it, because then when you use that 20% to sell your products or services, then you have already established trust with your audience. And if they like and trust you, they will do business with you. So again, 80% of that content should be things that help your audience, whether it's solving a particular problem, sharing information that will educate them about your industry and why you are the best, and then that 20% to sell and create that ask. What are you asking your audience to do in the long run? So generating awareness. People know where you are. They know where your business is located. They know what kind of content you produce. And if they're following you on Facebook, for example, your posts will show up in their newsfeed. But however, there is one caveat to that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And of course, again, if you focus your social media efforts on answering your audience's questions and kind of tending to their needs, you can take care of a lot of the customer service aspect that you may receive from phone calls or emails. A lot of times people will go to social media first, number one, to complain, but also to find answers. So be sure that, as your audience is aware of you and they're engaging with you, engage with them in return. And that's not just for the negative comments out there. That's for your supporters and your raving fans. Let them know that you appreciate them being part of your community and getting, and really kind of making that online connection with them. And a lot of times this happens even before, for those of you who have brick and mortar stores, happens before they even come to your store. So you want to build that customer service functionality into your social media marketing so that you can cover a lot of things when it comes to building trust with your audience. And of course, encouraging action. And this is done in several ways. Number one, you could do polls like I'm doing here in this presentation to get a gauge for the audience. You can share videos and how-tos that drive action. So if you want to share a how-to video on Facebook with your audience and help them solve one of their problems, then that's going to help you when it comes time for you to make that sale or to ask for that sale, that they'll respond. And I just want to point out one thing here. In this particular image for Jack's Barbecue, you notice that it's all text. It's a dark background with white text. And this is because recently Facebook has lifted the text on image threshold that it used to have. So one of the ways that I see people using this technique, especially on Facebook, is when asking questions to their audience. You may want to use a poll type setup where you could say, hey, which one do you like better, product A or product B? And have them comment on this. But I see this technique being used a lot, very successful, easy to read, it stands out. So if you're looking at kind of mixing things up a little bit on social media, ask your audience questions using an image format like you have here. So that's awesome. And then, of course, repurposing content can save you time. So things that you post on Facebook, you can share on LinkedIn and Twitter, Pinterest. If you've got your website blog going, you can share that content. One of the techniques that I encourage people to use as a way to save time is to take that blog post and chop it up into nuggets, and then sharing those nuggets of information and your great wisdom on your social media platforms. This is one way you can create content on the fly. If you don't have a content writer per se, look at others out there who you admire in your industry and share some of their content. So repurposing content can definitely save you time. And of course, then finding and sharing industry news can set you up as a subject matter expert in your industry. And I highly recommend that one aspect of your life as a business owner is to take on that mantle and be a role model for others in your industry. You'll find that once people kind of peg you as a go-to resource, you'll find that you will eventually start to pick up more qualified business leads that can turn into sales. And of course, using tools like Twitter's advanced search, feedly.com, which is one way to go out there and look for content to share. There's millions of blogs out there in all industries and aspects of business, lots of content that you can share. And this also lets your audience knows that you're staying on top of things and that you're up to date on things that are going on in your industry. So let's talk about paid advertising for a second. So here is my third and final poll question for you. Are you using paid advertising as part of your social media marketing reach? So let's see. And I will talk about why this is important, because I think in 2022, especially if this holiday season is going to be an indicator, paid advertising to help expand your reach is going to be important. So let's share the results of this poll. So 86% of you say no, you are not using paid advertising. So let me see if I can convince you to at least experiment a little bit. So paid advertising, and as you know, uh, social media marketing is definitely becoming a more pay to play kind of platforms. And Facebook in particular is one. On it used to be way back when Facebook first started, if you had 100 visitors on your website and you posted something on your Facebook page, or let's say 100 visitors that are following you on Facebook, and you posted something on your Facebook page, 100% of those people would see your post. Now that has really gone from 100% down to maybe about 1% or less. So anything that you post organically on social media is not going to be seen by the majority of the folks who are following you. And this is where paid advertising comes into effect. So if you think about how social media has changed in the last 6 to 8 years, this is probably the one thing that has the largest impact. So when I talk about awareness, I'm not just talking about posting something on your page and having the people who are following you, which nowadays only 2% or less of those folks who are following you will actually see your post. You need to enhance that post with some form of advertising. And like I said, Facebook advertising is probably one of the easiest ways to get started. You don't necessarily need to have a large budget. I recommend that if you are thinking about starting a little advertising on Facebook, number one, make sure that your Facebook page is complete, is filled out. Everything is there. You've got current posts, things that people will see. And then think of a budget of anywhere from as low as, and I like to think of not advertising, every day of the month on social media, but for specific things that you want to promote, either an article on your blog or a particular offer that you have for your audience, to create campaigns. And they can last anywhere from 10 to 15 days. And I always recommend starting off with a low budget. And when you think about, well, if I'm going to do a 10-day campaign, what would be a recommended budget per day? And I would say start off with at least a $5 a day budget. That will give you enough information about how your ad is performing that you will know whether or not to scale up a little bit, add a little bit more to your budget, especially if you start to see results. So think of a 2-week campaign, $5 a day. I think most of us can mark out or scratch out a little bit in our business marketing budget. And if you have a plan, a marketing plan, you can allocate that budget to that plan. And you can do things like advertise your particular content that you want people to know about, your products or services, and then be able to track the results. This will give you a huge advantage over those businesses who aren't. Because the one thing that Facebook ads in particular, and I'll be doing a Facebook advertising webinar in 2022, that will kind of make this a little bit more clearer. But like I said, it doesn't have to be complicated. And Facebook advertising is one of those things that will definitely help you at least get an idea of how well you could, how well your business could take advantage of the advertising platforms out there. The number one thing that I like about social media marketing advertising is that you can target your audience. So you can target your audience by demographics, locations, behaviors, and interests. So for example, if I am selling shoes, I can target people who have an interest in shoes or a particular brand of shoes. And then I can even target them in a specific location. So if I'm a local shop and I'm selling shoes, I can create advertising on social media that specifically targets those people with that interest and and um, and reach them with an ad that they may not have otherwise seen my product if I posted it with just a simple organic post on Facebook. So again, think of this. Number one, you can really target a specific audience. And then, of course, one of the cool things that I like in particular about Facebook advertising is that once I have gotten what they call, I've created my audience based on interest, location, and behaviors, I can create what's called a lookalike audience. So I can say to Facebook, for example, Facebook, here's my avatar of my audience, and here are all the things that are made that make them up. Can you find me more potential customers like this? And Facebook will do that for you. It's what's called a lookalike audience. So they can create an audience based on criteria of your customer base, for example. And one common way to do that would be to take your customer list, and maybe if you've been collecting email addresses over the years, load that up into Facebook and let Facebook find other people who have similar attributes as the people on your customer list. That's one way to do it. And of course, designing and publishing your ad, you really want to be targeted on on your demographics. What's going to appeal? What imagery, videos is going to appeal to your audience and get their attention as they're scrolling through? And one of the most cost-effective angles when it comes to this part of designing your ad is to use video. So even if it's a slideshow of your products, that will get far more reach than an organic, static picture. So using video on your advertising, highly effective, even more cost effective, can actually bring your ad costs down, which would then increase your exposure. And then, of course, publishing, like I said, publishing ads and having that call to action. And you'll notice on these, you have that call to action button, whether it's subscribe, download, buy now. Those are things that you can incorporate into an ad that you can't incorporate into an organic post. And then, of course, using some automation to generate leads. And you may or may not have heard of Facebook lead ads, but you can tie that, for example, and this is where I'm saying that email marketing and social media marketing go hand in hand, because now I can use them to create a platform of automation where I don't have to immediately, at least manually, follow up with people who are following me, for example. If they filled out a form from one of my ads, one of my Facebook ads, I can automatically have them added to my email list, and then I can already have set up an automatic response to them. So using automation, as in particular lead automation, can help you save time when it comes to online advertising. And of course, engagement. You want to use a platform, and Constant Contact is an awesome platform to kind of set up and manage all of your social media in one place. So not only can you, and no matter what tool you use, you always want to make sure that you can perform multiple functions under one roof. And responding and monitoring conversations on your social media in one place is one way to do that. So creating those opportunities with lead generation, automated follow-up, and then of course engagement, knowing what's going on there will definitely help you. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Let's recap and talk a little bit about what we talked about today. First off, we're going to set our social goals to be awareness, customer service, and action. And then we're going to spend some time, 15 minutes. Now I know until you really get good at it, you may spend a little bit longer, but carve out some time during your day where you will focus on those three goals: awareness, customer service, and action. And then, of course, using social ads to expand your reach and connect with new people. And again, it doesn't require a huge budget to do that. So now that we've talked all about that, some of the things we're going to be talking about in the future, and in particular, I also mentioned that Constant Contact is an awesome all-in-one platform where you can use email, websites, social media ads and management, logos if you need a logo, and of course, e-commerce, all under one roof with Constant Contact. And if you, after hearing all of this, you probably are thinking, man, I probably need to talk to somebody about how to create a good social media marketing plan. Contact our mentors here at Treasure Valley SCORE. And here's the link to do that. And if you'd like to talk about Constant Contact further with me, I am more than happy to do that. Like I said, I will be sending out a follow-up email. We can connect and discuss your interest in Constant Contact. And of course, check out our website, treasurevalley.score.org, for our upcoming workshops and events. And then, of course, if you need money for your business, the SBA, Small Business Administration, has several loan programs out there that if you talk to a SCORE mentor, no matter where you are, they can tap you into those local resources that can help you when it comes time to raising money for your business, whether you're a startup, whether you've been in business, whether you have been impacted by COVID-19. Use the resources that are out there that are specifically designed to help you get through these difficult times. So I'd like to thank you all for attending the workshop today. I really appreciate your time and attention. And now we have some time for questions. So let's see. If you have questions, go ahead and let's put them up there. Let's see. Getting background beeps. Let's see. Are there privacy? Barbara asked, are there privacy issues related to sharing your customer email list with Facebook to get a lookalike audience? For example, do you have wording to recommend for when you collect the emails? Yes, actually, that is a really good question, because that is one of the most common ways that you can use Facebook to its really kind of advanced use. And one of the things that you should do whenever someone, like if you have an email sign-up form on your website, just put as a disclaimer there or in your privacy policy. And every business that has a website should have a privacy policy. If you'd like to know more about privacy policies and what goes into them, please contact me and I'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction. But having a privacy policy that outlines what you will do with that contact information will cover you when it comes to uploading a list to Facebook. So if you have in your privacy policy that you will use that data to contact or to connect with your audience on other social media properties or other properties that you have, like Facebook, for example, then you're covered under that. And the other thing too is that you might want to also make sure to let people know that they can unsubscribe from your email list at any time. So as long as you are keeping, or as long as you are being upfront about what you are going to do with that particular person's or with your audience's information, they won't have any problems doing that. Otherwise, they could just unsubscribe. So I hope that answered your question. Privacy policy, definitely one of those things. And as a matter of fact, when you use Facebook advertising, you have to link your ad to your website's privacy policy. Let's see. Are you able to talk about, and Joe asked, are you able to talk about how to find clients on LinkedIn? I have no idea how this works. Well, that is an awesome question. One of the things that I like to use LinkedIn for is to find people who are, who would be most likely the decision makers about whether or not to engage with my particular product or service. So I like to use LinkedIn as a professional networking. It's kind of like, that Chamber of Commerce online where you can exchange business cards with someone who might be a good match for you. And it's more personal, so you can connect directly just by asking them to follow you or you follow them on LinkedIn and sharing information about your business. What sets you apart, making those connections. I always look at LinkedIn as a place where, how can I help you reach your business goals? And if I come across with that approach, then I'm more likely to get a lot in return. So I look at LinkedIn in particular as being a platform where it's really about giving, providing information, sharing knowledge, educating those potential audiences, and then exchanging that digital business card. Hey, I'd like to follow you. Would you like to be part of my network? I have an email newsletter I'd like to share with you. All those things go into that. So that sounds like a topic for 2022, how to effectively use LinkedIn to market your business. All righty. So Claudia asks, if the benefit of presence on social media is to reach just 1% of my audience, why be active? Why not just pay for social media marketing? That is an excellent point. Excuse me, Claudia. Although I'm saying just on the face of it, 1% or less of your organic audience is going to see your post. The more that you do, as far as organic posting on social media, when it does come time for you to throw in that ad, you have content there for them to look at as well. So, they may see my ad, go to my website or my Facebook page and see even more content. And advertising actually can help boost social or organic reach. So your 1% organic reach could grow into 15, 20% organic reach if you're using advertising. So keep that in mind. I hope that answered your question. So we have a question, which social media platform is most efficient for putting your marketing efforts into? And the one that I would recommend, and I said this at the beginning, most of every business's audience out there is on Facebook. So if I were going to spend time as a new business or someone who has not been using social media, I would make myself very familiar with the business aspects of Facebook. And that'd be a great place to start. Alrighty. So Terry, let's see. Sally asks, if you have a service type company, what is good to use for videos on Facebook? Definitely videos can tell your business story. So one of the things I would do would be, especially in a service-oriented business, would be to get video testimonials from happy customers. So if you have engaged with someone who is happy, you can either pull up your phone. Most phones are 4K, HD quality video now, and get a quick video testimonial that you can share on social media, as well as your website and email marketing. So video can be very powerful that way. All righty, we have 5 more minutes. So let's see, got lots of questions today. That's great. Terry asks, when scheduling social media posts via Constant Contact or Hootsuite, do we have to skinny down our videos for Facebook in order to qualify for an Instagram post? What would optimal length be for each in your opinion? Awesome question, Terry. Of course, people's attention span is a lot less these days. So anything under 30 seconds is probably good. Facebook actually kind of has, if you've ever watched videos or ads on Facebook, they tend to end around 15 seconds. So 15 seconds would be optimal for both Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Longer form videos would be awesome for YouTube and, of course, on your website. So shorter videos on your social media platforms, 15 seconds. If you really want to push it, 30 seconds. One of the cool things about Facebook is you can track how much of your video somebody is watching. So did they watch 25% of your video, 50% of your video, 75% of your video? And you can actually create custom audiences based on video viewership. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But shorter, to the point, videos are awesome to promote your product or service. If you're going to do something like, in an educational format, a how-to or something like that, then I would recommend going to a platform like YouTube and doing your video or posting your videos there. All right. So Barbara asked on LinkedIn, is a contact automatically a follower? It can be, but there's some different levels there that on LinkedIn. So I can follow a business and I can also follow an individual. So if you have a business page on LinkedIn, I can follow you there. A contact on a regular contact that you've networked with may not always be a follower, but that's when I would encourage them to follow your business LinkedIn page, because then you can share more information about your business that's really business oriented. All righty. Let's see. Yes, I will be sending out the recording. And we got a couple minutes left, a few more questions. Let's see, I cannot get my Instagram to work with my Facebook page, even though they're connected. What should I look for to make them work together? Catherine, I think this would probably be a good follow-up call for me to have with you about your specific issue here. But yes, connecting your Facebook page to your Instagram account can be a little challenging, especially if you have an older Facebook page. and you have not connected it before. So yes, I definitely would look at that. There's some changes in the settings and how they're set up now. So if you're not familiar with Facebook's business suite, go to business.facebook.com and you will see, especially after you have logged in, using the same login you used to log into Facebook to create your business portal account, then you will be able to see how easy, how you can connect your Instagram to your Facebook page. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, any other questions? All right, so we've come up on 10 o'clock. Thank you for attending. Again, my name is John Walker, TE Digital. Here is my contact information, john@tedigitalmarketing.com. And don't forget to connect with us here at Treasure Valley SCORE. We have some slots open for mentoring sessions. Sign up and talk to someone who can help you. And again, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Columbia Bank, for helping us put on this webinar so that you don't have to pay for it. So we really appreciate their support and, of course, all of our supporters out there. Again, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your week and a happy holiday. See you next month.